Can we switch the topic a little bit? I'm gonna go to some of the younger cats. We got Shepherd in the house. We got Rockstar J.T. in the house. I want to understand that name a little bit too.
Yeah.
So y'all were kind of you're 20.
Yeah.
And 20. So you got two 20-year-olds. Y'all missed a lot of what came before you in terms of this CHH. Do you need the label? Do you have to have your faith in your music? All that kind of stuff. Y'all come in the scene where it kind of is what it is right now. I don't even know what it is to you all. You see reach artists, you see that kind of stuff going. And y'all were having a conversation as we were going to lunch.
Right.
So how do you look at the idea of what is Christian hip hop to you?
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah. Told y'all we was going to need more time.
I believe, in my opinion,
I'm sorry, before you even answer that, are you a part of Christian hip hop? And then what is it?
Yeah, I'm definitely a part of it. Like, most of my fans are from the Christian hip hop community.
But you don't want to identify as one.
I wouldn't say that either. I would say, so let me answer this first.
Mm-hmm.
So I am a part of the Christian hip hop community. I did send out a tweet saying a lot of Christian hip hop doesn't really embrace me because of the fact that, like, how my music sounds, what it is. It's like real hood. Like, you listen to my music, like, man. Somebody told me one time, like, man, I put Migos in Culture 2, the album that just dropped, and then I put your CD in, and I really couldn't tell the difference.
Do they mean that from the aesthetic sound or the content?
The sound. The sound. So it was like, man, like, your stuff really could go. I was like, man, praise God, because like my producers and stuff, they're not in Christian hip hop. They don't even know, like, barely one Christian hip hop artist. You know what I mean? Just because I want that sound where I can do both.
It seems, and if it sounds like I'm coming from a place, I kind of am, but I don't know if you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
If you need to ask a question about my question, feel free.
Yeah.
But it seems as though you're saying there's a difference in what Christian hip hop sounds like versus what secular hip hop sounds like that has nothing to do with the message.
Yeah.
What's that difference?
I don't even know, but I can tell when I'm listening to a Christian hip hop song.
Y'all feel the same way?
I think it depends on the talent. Like, if you got someone who's dope, they're dope. You feel me? Like, as long as the message is Christian and you can make the sound just like the regular secular music. You feel me? So
you saying no? That there's a sound difference.
Even
You talking about quality?
Do you have any examples?
Okay, so if I turn on, for example, I turn on, I turn on Thre, for example, even the Trap Say Man. If I turn on that, then I turn on,
Something like two.
Ray Sherman. You know what I mean? If I turn on that, you can tell the difference. You can tell, like,
Are we saying like quality?
Are you as an artist or like the beats? Or what?
It sounds like you're saying sonically, but let's see if we can work out.
It's just the sound of it. You know what I mean?
Because I remember even Lecrae back in the day. There's a Christian band. I forget the name. They're very, very popular. I should know the name, but I don't.
21 Pilots, maybe.
Okay. There's this Christian band, but I don't know if they build themselves as Christian or not. But they made a statement similar to that. They said when you turn on Christian music, you can tell it's Christian right away, and they said that's a bad thing.
I think that's old.
I remember Lecrae hearing that and sort of voicing he doesn't want that stigma of when you turn it on, you immediately know it's Christian and it almost like. They couldn't put their finger on what it was, but there sort of was this sense of this otherness, and if I had to put words to what they couldn't put words to, it almost seems like a corniness. Like there's something about it that when you turn it on, it's Christian, and you can tell in the first 5 seconds you can tell it's Christian, and that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think it was like an old stereotype though.
I felt like that stereotype was relevant. That stereotype was relevant at one point, where I would even coming from the secular and even getting saved, though I enjoyed the content, there was a cheesiness to some of the beats, to some of the synths and on the chorus.
It was kind of dated.
So I can understand if somebody says dated, either it's dated or some people would say it just doesn't sound authentic.
Yeah. There was this. I would say there was Christian hip hop lacked this authenticity as far it sounded like a no frills, watered down version of hip hop.
Okay.
So though the message was potent, the message was powerful. Even some of the rappers' voices, like I would be like, if you was in the world, you would have never made it. You feel me? Like you would have never, they would have never let you on. Your voice sucks, your flow sucks.
Say names, come on. I feel that way about certain dudes, but I remember even when I first got introduced to CHH, like Trip Lee's first album, you know what I'm saying? Like, what was it, Young and Unashamed? Like, we was passing out in the hood. Like, and people were bumping it because of the way he sounded. Like, nobody in the world was sounding like Trip Lee at the time. Like, Trip Lee had this Texas type of, but I remember, and I had just came, I didn't know what Christian rap was. So when I was hearing dudes like Ambassador, when I was hearing dudes like Trip, I was like, yo, these dudes can rap. And I couldn't, at least at the time, I wasn't like, now I did think Christian rap was corny. But if you show me, and I hope nobody's watching this offended, but of course, if you show me DC Talk, Toby Mac, and KJ52, of course I'm gonna think that. You know what I'm saying? And I love those dudes. They do it. They have their
bars.
You know what I'm saying? But of course, it looks a certain way when it's packaged like that. Same way in the world if it's packaged like that.
So I hope you don't mind that segue, but I just wanted to kind of know what you meant when you said you didn't want your stuff to sound like. So all right, you can if you remember where you were going.
So most of my fans are Christian hip hop because I branded myself. I'm a Christian, so when I first got into doing music, like I was young. I was 16 years old, and as a young dude, trying to look up to somebody. It's just like you don't know nothing about culture. You don't know nothing about. I didn't know anything about Christian culture. I just was trying to live right. I was just trying to please the Lord. And I felt like I had to do music that glorified God, that gave God, like hallelujah, like and say stuff like that in my music. Because that's what I was looking at. I heard the songs. I was out of my mind. My head was screwed, like stuff like that. And when I got saved, WLAK just dropped their project, and their project was really, really gospel centered. Like it was a gospel rap album. Like they was rapping and it was gospel straight up. Like no song.
Was it?
Yeah.
I didn't get that. You know what's so crazy? I mean, they do have songs. They had Yahweh's the King.
Right.
So that's the song.
Okay. Because for most of the album,
it was explicitly Jesus, but a lot of this stuff.
No, it was dope. It wasn't corny at all.
Right.
But I was saying the thing I was going was like the WLAK We Live as Kings album was the first Christian album that I could listen to all the way through, and I didn't have to skip a track. I didn't skip one track. That and Canon Mad Haven. Those two albums changed my life because I'm like, man, these guys are Christian, and this really sounds good. So I felt like when I heard that project, I never heard, like when I got saved, Lecrae wasn't really on. I don't know when the switch came, but he wasn't really on the whole, I'm not a Christian rapper thing. When he dropped Church Clothes, he wasn't really on that like
That's
that.
where it started.
It started like, yeah.
2012.
Yeah, and I got saved 2013, and I'm like, man, I didn't know about all of this. I didn't never hear Church Clothes like that. I just heard the old Lecrae Rehab because I know when Christian hip hop albums drop now, and when we drop projects and stuff like, but I did not know back then when this stuff dropped. So all I knew was when I was a part of a summer camp and they played the little, my head was screwed up, but Jesus saved me, hallelujah. They played that, and they played Thizzle, Thizzle, have a brief, and you're complaining about secular music. That's what I heard when I listened to it. It was dope. It was really good. So I'm like, man, this is good music, but I didn't hear anybody not talking about Jesus in their music. So I'm like, okay, I'm 16, I'm young, I got to talk about God in my music. Even though I was going through a whole bunch of stuff, like my friends, I used to cover up the pain too. I didn't start talking about this stuff until I dropped a song called Moving Weight that really, like, a lot of people heard in Christian hip hop. So I seen my friend, he was 16 years old. I seen him land in a casket from a bullet wound to the neck, 16. My cousin got shot in the head, he was 17. My grandma, she died. So I did not know when all of this stuff happened. I'm like, man, I can talk about pain in my music. I can be authentic in my music. I made music just so I had just so youth groups can turn up to it because this is what I seen. I didn't see anything else. I didn't see people talking about this stuff in the music. So that's what I feel like I boxed myself into, like a Christian hip hop community. If it was up to me, I love Christian hip hop. I love it. I love everything everybody does in it. But I wouldn't brand myself as a Christian hip hop artist if I would have knew I didn't have to back then. I love the Lord, my local community around me. I have pastors. I have people, who hold me accountable. I'm being discipled. I have that stuff. But I don't think a title has anything to do with my faith. My faith is I have people, like Jesus had 12 disciples. So if people say you do a show, 100 souls got saved. I'd rather not do that. I'd rather live life with God, you know what I mean, and have them ride in my car. They're not saved yet. I have people who I hang with who don't know the Lord yet, riding in my car, but they know that JT is about Jesus, and 10 years from now, they doing miraculous things for the Lord. And I don't care if it's 5 people. I'd rather have people who I know who I can walk with and see them, living a life of godliness because of the seed that the Lord had me plant, than to say at a show I do an altar call because this many souls got saved. Not saying altar calls are bad, because I know some people who really came to Christ doing that, but I'm just saying my preference is to really do ministry behind the scenes, do ministry where I can really walk with people.
JT, I just want to, and I'm not, and don't take this the wrong way or nothing like that. I hear everything you're saying, but a couple minutes ago you said like a title doesn't define your faith, but if we're just keeping it a title does define your success, and for you and for me and for Datin, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't call yourself a Christian rapper, you don't get those opportunities that you have. You know what I'm saying? So you said if you knew that you didn't have to label yourself as CHH to do what you're doing. My only thing is like, if a lot of us are honest in here, we don't have those. Like K-Drama told me something. He said, "Look, if I don't call myself a Christian rapper, I don't get shows." You know what I'm saying? I'm not getting paid for these shows. I'm not paying my light bill. I'm not doing it. And I respect it when he said that. You know what I'm saying? My only thing is like, that's the only problem I get because I think everything you're saying, all of us would be like, yo, amen. But it's when we peel back and we're saying, y'all don't want to call yourself CHH, but let's be honest, bro, you're getting the opportunities that you're getting because all of us went behind you because of this. It'll be the same thing like you're right, that label Christian is defining your faith, but it's also a marketing tactic. That's how we find you. That's how I find a Christian counselor. That's how I find if I want a Christian school to put my children into, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm looking for a specific thing. So Rockstar J.T, you want to tell me that you want to go ahead and help people and minister to people, unless you want to be this 007 type of dude, you know what I'm saying? Whether you want to help people, and I want my kids to hear your message, or I want to hear your message, you have to put that label on there so I can go to it. You know what I'm saying? Because listen up, J. Cole, as dope as some of the things that he says, it's a limit on what he's gonna give me. You know what I'm saying? So when I go to his concert, I know, he might tell me, hey, love yours and be content with be content with that and whatever. But then what happens after that? You know what I'm saying? Like my thing is like, so I just think that with that label, and I think this is even what Datin was getting at when he was putting out his joints. I was just saying, yo, let's all just keep it 1,000. Like the title is why we all here. You know what I'm saying? That title is why we're here. And we know we're not saying this has anything to do with the atonement 2,000 years ago, but it is saying something about why certain checks are being cut, why certain merch is being sold, why certain venues you're being put in. You know what I'm saying? So that's my.
I would say that's not my story, because I get shows regardless. Like I just did a show and got paid the other day, and it had nothing to do with Jesus.
What's the majority? But you would say the majority though is a Christian market for you.
Yeah, definitely. But when I think, and you're right to a certain extent, but it's just like with me, like you can ask my community, you can ask the people around me. Like with me, it's like both. Like I told Datin, did I tell you this the other day? I said I told somebody this. I'm the only Christian rapper or Christian artist who, like in my city, where I got invited to one of the most popular guys, secular artists ever. Like in my city right now, he's the most popular. I'm the only Christian artist that got invited there. So a lot of people, and let me backtrack. And even like some of the shows I did in the past, I used to be the only Christian artist on the show because it's just like my sound. You know what I mean? My sound, like people can like, man, and I believe it's where you at. Like it depends on where you live too. Like in Montgomery, bro, it's just like if you rap, if you dope, if you love the Lord, you feel me? These guys don't care if you put a title on it or not. Some of them do. Some of them, like I know some people. The dude who I used to be in ministry with, like he cares about the title, but I didn't really have too many shows with him. I had some with him, but most of the time, people know like that I love the Lord, and they booked me. You know, they didn't ask me. They were like, and I'll say this. They're like, there's some people say, oh, he's a hip hop artist, and because when some of these youth pastors now, they're like in these reform circles. So it's like when you in the reform circles, a lot of times you look at Lecrae. I don't know why you look at Lecrae as a god, and they see that Lecrae took the title off of it, and then I'll say something to them. They're like, oh yeah, you doing what Lecrae's doing. You don't have to. And I had plenty of conversations. You know, I said, nah, I'm not doing what Lecrae's doing. Even if Lecrae didn't take that stance, I wouldn't have took it because I see the church. We need other Christians to encourage, but I'm like, man, a lot of times if I haven't been around a lot of people who are hurting and broken, they'll still be there. And I know people who were hurting and broken and who I'm involved with. But if I haven't been around these people, and I'm not gonna say I dumb down my faith, but if I haven't been around these people, they would have never got out of the situations they were in. But I wasn't around these people. Like I did shows in schools and stuff like that, and I did shows, you know, a lot of places where Christians is unusual for that.
I think like kind of like what you were saying, all the stuff that you're saying you are doing, like getting booked in secular events where no one else Christian is getting booked there, you're doing with this title. Like they're cool with it, you know what I'm saying? And so like you brought up a big point. We were talking yesterday, like some of that sometimes is they know the power of you being Christian will book you because you bring a whole different fan base with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's value in that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's true, but it's rare. I would say this is why this debate is never going to finish, because there's I hear his heart, I hear other dudes' hearts, and it's like us on the CHH side don't want to accept that, just like he said, just like Craig said, they've gotten into this genre because they're Christians. They feel almost like unknowingly forced, you know what I mean, all right, I'm Christian now, I'm part of the circle, this is what I'm supposed to do. And sometimes it's even in fear of, I'll look like I'm in sin if I'm not Jesus. Then you find out that you're not in sin and you can do this. So now you've picked up this fan base on this side, and now you kind of want to repent of that thought, repent of that ideal, and switch up. And then us on this side. So it's like we need to understand that can happen, and people are allowed to change their minds as long as they're not contradicting the gospel.
Yep.
But then on the other side, where the person that doesn't want to claim CHH, they need to respect and understand when we like, come on, bro. Like, and I'm not pointing you out. I mean, just like the argument with other people, like, yo, come on, bro. You only made it that far because of us, because we supported you, because of this side. So you just getting your bread and butter on this, and now you trying to shun us. So the argument will always go is because, like, we don't understand that, hey, they're kind of allowed to change their mind to just be like, hey, you know what? I had this wrong idea. Let me backpedal. And then y'all be like, man, bump y'all, but don't want to understand why we upset because you eating off of us.
Yeah. Let me add something in there real quick, because I think I want to get Shepard on the conversation. To Datin's point about people not, I think what happens is people date Christian hip hop. They dated in the way. Who was that? Somebody did a post where they broke up with Christian hip hop or something like that. They
mad people are
but they did like an open letter, but they kind of just like letting the hip Christian. Nah, it was a dude who wrote like this letter to CHH.
It was John Gibbs. But
here's what happens. I got. It's almost like the movies you see where like somebody is you know, they not really cool themselves. And I'm not saying nobody's not cool, but they date the unpopular person in the school who's also not cool. But they only date that person so that other people say, oh, you got a date. You get their buzz up. And once they get their buzz up, they dump that person because now other people like them. Yeah. I think that happens with Christian hip hop a lot. People, they date it just so other people say, oh, people like you? Okay, then we like you too. And then once other people like you too, you turn back to Christian hip hop like, oh, I don't need you to like me no more. It's cool if you still do, but I don't really need you to like me no more because I got them now.
Yeah, and with me, that's never been me. So I don't want y'all. I don't want to be put in a box with Ruslan, with Lecrae, and all of them. I'm not saying, oh, forget Christian hip hop. I'm not gonna bring my music. What I mean about,
I hear your heart. I feel like at this point you don't have to explain it further. You did a good job.
Yeah.
But I do think there's something that's being said that's important between the older generation and the younger generation. Because I heard something at this conference several times. I heard a few people say, I felt like I had to do gospel-oriented hip-hop.
I think that's why a lot of people left, though.
But here's the thing. I remember, I don't know who all, because some people surprised me, but I think there was a generation that it wasn't this, I felt like I had to. It was a, yo, I get to.
Yeah.
And I hardly hear that from the younger generation, like, yo, I get to. It's always a, I feel like I had to.
Yo, in the beginning, though, I felt like, because I didn't want to give up my gift, and every sermon I sat on, he could be preaching about apples and oranges. It was God saying, give me your gift, give me your gift. And I felt like, Dad, Lord, I don't want to. I want to do what you was doing before anybody else. I just want to stop cursing.
Right.
I want to still battle rap, still go to the club. Still, you know, I'm talking about rap at the club, not chill. Yeah. So I felt like I had to, but that's because I didn't love his gospel yet. I didn't love his word. I loved him, but like the dating joint. And then once I fell in love with his word and him, then it's just like I had this contract to fulfill, to record an album. I had a big secular website at the time documenting the whole thing. And everything that was coming out was Christian. And they told me, and I wasn't no Christian rapper. I had Crazy Bone on the album. I had Sean Price on the album. If you listen to the song with Crazy Bone, the joint is straight Christian. So even him. So long story short, they hit me up. Was like, yo, we not coming by your studio session next week. I'm like, why? Because it's a Christian hip hop album. And I was like, what? And I listened back and everything was Christian. It just, what the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks.
I got to get shepherded in this. I want to hear your music. When I hear you talk about the pain that you experienced, and you said, yo, I can put that in my music. The same way you got that excitement that said, I can rap about that stuff. I do wonder if dudes ever had that same excitement that said, oh, I can rap about the gospel. Because here's the thing. When you start talking about the pain in your city, pain in your past, anybody can do that, and I think more Christians should. But the second you start giving solutions to that pain, and it's a Christian solution, it's going to be hard to not get the Christian title.
CHH is just, this is the thing though, it's different now, bro. So when you say, JT has said, you know, I heard Cannon's album, I heard We Live as Kings, right? And they were rapping about God. And we have to understand, it's rapping about God today is different than rapping about God in 05 to 08. You know what I'm saying?
Different how?
I'm gonna tell you why. When he said We Live as Kings, it was all about God, and you was like, was it? It didn't connect with you. Why? Because what you and even me, because I was excited by it. Why? Because rapping about God is Christology. The atonement, Solus Christus project, the faith, like it was a vertical thing that we didn't have to peel back a message. You know what I'm saying? Now rapping about God could be JT saying, you know what, my cousin got shot, yada yada yada, and then but I know he's, Lord, I know you're gonna get me through this. Boom. You know
Some
what I'm
of
saying?
that's contingent on what side of the cross you're on at the time it's being released as well. Because, like, you can go back and hear, like, I've heard, Ruslan talked about it, like, he heard God in DMX's song. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I cried too. I was unsaved, and when he did that joint, somebody knocking, I was high, and I'm like,
what I'm saying is just the mindset, though, is different. Like, you can put it this way, bro, and Rockstar is my boy. 05 to even when HGA started coming out, right? 07, 08, and we was in our community, if we would have heard that we were doing a show with a rapper named Rockstar J.T, we were going to go ahead and rebuke him after the show. Because his name is Rockstar. Like, that's what we would have done. That, today, though, it's not a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fact that you put Rockstar on it, we automatically assume it's pride, and we need to go ahead and address that.
I want him to finish what he was saying. I want you to pass it directly to him. But part of this conversation is, so if rapping for God has changed, what should be the difference between a chance, if there should be a chance, God's plan, some of the stuff that Royce the 5'9" put out, they go not necessarily vertical, but they kind of go on a slant where it's like, yo, that's going towards God. Should there be any difference between a Christian's hip-hop, if it's not Christian hip-hop, and what the world produces and say, hey, that was a Christian hip-hop album, chances or whatever, should there be any difference?
Man.
So when you're done, you're going to pass it because Shep ain't said nothing yet.
Yeah. Man, people know, come on, man. We know. People, this society knows that Chance and all of them, come on. Like, you know.
Knows what?
You know that these people, I'm not going to say they're not a Christian, but you know, if you're a Christian, some stuff you just not. If you're,
I don't know if it's that clear.
We know. We know.
That's
I don't
what
think the world knows.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's in the body of Christ.
Okay.
We know. I mean, we know that what a real Christian is. So I'm not gonna say Chance is not a Christian because I can't judge the man's heart, but I don't think it obeys God. You know, to talk about women and all of that, like the way he talks about them sometimes, but then do another song. And Drake, I don't think it obeys the Lord. I don't know if he's a Christian or not, but I don't think it obeys the Lord to talk about God's plan one song, and then your album you talking about crazy stuff.
So the inconsistency.
It's that people now, we have a watered down faith. You know what I mean? And we know in the back of our mind, anybody in the faith knows that Drake is not glorifying the Lord with his music. What they just try to do, and I would say that what they try to do is they try to make it. I don't know what they try to do. They try to. I can't even use the word, but they try to make it like they want to approve it when they know it's not right.
And justify it.
And justify it because he said God. You know, just because you said God, I would just listen to y'all song, Human Superstars.
Okay.
Somebody said, I forgot who verse it was. They said
It's all one person.
Yeah, who was it?
Ambassador.
Yeah, he said, you don't get to heaven because you mentioned God at the Grammys. You know what I mean? Because I say God's plan, I don't get to heaven. The only way I get to heaven is I, submit to the Lord and believe on Jesus. But if you confess Jesus as your Lord and your Savior, you will submit to what He says. And when I submit to what He says, I don't glorify sin anymore. I may struggle with sin, but I'm not a slave to sin, and I don't boast on sin and celebrate sin. So, a lot of these people who we praise, the Chances, the Kendricks, and the Drake, they are boasting vocally on sin, but we were like, oh, he mentioned God, so he's a Christian. Anytime anytime somebody says God, Cardi B can say God. You know what I mean? The Christian hip hop community or Christians get so excited. Like, oh my gosh, they say God. Like, who can't say God? Who, for years, people been saying, man, when Nicki Minaj, when Uncle Luke hit the stage, and he talked about sexual immorality, when they praised him at the BT Hip Hop Awards, all his songs about, he's all about sex, fornication, sex, lust. He thank God. You know what I mean?
He said, come on.
He thank God. So it's just like, so he's a Christian, and the Bible is clear on sexual immorality, but we get excited when somebody thanks God. You know what I mean? And not from a self-righteous tip, but we need to come to an honest stand and be like, man, come on, man. You know that these people. You know these people are probably not Christians because of the way that they live or brag about something.
I got you. Johnny Come Lately over here, y'all. Streethymns.
Conversation about not being righteous. He was just talking about you.
What's up? We passing the mic to Shepard real quick. But what you
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm actually never offended when somebody thanks God, because throughout the Bible multiple times we see many gods.
Yeah.
You know, so if somebody mentions God, it's just a title.
Yeah.
You know, I'm only offended when you say the proclaim the name of Yahweh. You know, or any of the names.
Or
of
Jesus,
the
they have been people. I just want.
Oh yes, for sure. Negroes big on when I mean, you if you from the South, when you say God, you believe you're talking about the God of the Bible.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why I said it, because like I'm from the South. I live in the Bible Belt, man. And, when we mean God, most of the times from Alabama, I live in Alabama. So when you say God is Jesus, we don't barely have Muslims or nothing like that.
Yeah. So we're gonna pass the mic to Shepherd. Yo, he been just chilling, patient over here. Are you a CHH artist? No one in this room has said that you have to be. So let's not. This is not what this conversation is. But if you are, what does that even mean to you? What is CHH? And if not, what do you think the distance is or difference is between you and a CHH artist?
Yeah, I think off rip, I'll probably say I'm getting into that. I never really felt the pressure that I had to be somebody that I'm not.
Okay.
You feel me? Like, it's like I've never to tap dance for somebody else. It's like I can't consciously do that. You know what I'm saying? And just the people I've been surrounded by. I started writing music since I was 8, started recording when I was 14. These guys I used to record with, like his name is like Will, 23rd, all of them young souls. They're like extremely reformed, Shy Lin, you know what I'm saying? Like all the way. Shout out to him.
Is Shy Lin a good word or a bad word?
It's a good word, but I'm talking about the way he raps. You feel me?
Gotcha.
It's like that structured rap.
Okay.
But I never saw the need to like separate areas of my life and keep the message one tone the entire time.
Okay.
When we think about Christian hip hop, I think the philosophy of it is always going to change because everybody views it in a different way. But when I got to it, it's like I was able to talk about my dad leaving when I was 8. I was able to talk about my homies selling dope. I was able to talk about my homie getting killed. I'm talking about heroin overdoses. I'm talking about these are my friends. You feel me? This is my family. Yet I was still able to talk about God. So I never saw, and when people tell me, it's like, man, I'm finally free now to be, I never saw that within myself to be like, yo, I'm finally free. Like, I get to do this. You know what I'm saying? This is something I'm very passionate about. You know what I mean? I spent my whole life into this thing. I think that what the world respects is authenticity. I'm going to stand for this. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm willing to stand for this, I'm going to die for this here. And that's like my philosophy with it. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. My friend Connor, I love the dude to death. We went to high school together. Like I was saying in my testimony earlier, when we shared the gospel on campus, and God was doing some amazing works. He got cancer earlier this year. I remember I was in work and I got a phone call and I was tearing up in my car. This very close friend of mine, right? In my car. And then I get a text message, group message from all these unbelievers that I went to school with. And they said, Jeff, we know that you're close to God, so we're asking you to pray. When I saw that message, I'm like, what made them think that I was close to God? Because I was trying to fit in with all these other people because I was standing with what I believed in. There's so much impact that we can do when we treat Christian hip hop like the ugly little brother. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, oh, no, we don't. Yeah, he can stay inside the house. You feel me? When I do music, I just do where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? And my relationship with God, where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? People label Christian hip hop. I went to a Chicago radio station, completely secular. People were getting high during the interview and stuff like that. And them boys were looking at me, it's like, yeah, we're not going to label you Christian hip hop, but we respect what you do. So I was kind of confused. I got all these people telling me, Jeff, yeah, don't label yourself that, woo, 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 because they're going to think it's lame, woo, 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 don't do it. I walked in there, they called me what they wanted to call me, I just did my thing. And it's crazy how much difference that could actually make from a man who's shriveling back. In all honesty. And no one, I don't see anyone like willing to say it face front like that, but I mean it. Like, and I want you guys to realize that when I make music, it's gonna look different ways, but I think what the matter we all gotta focus on is the heart. Like, what is your mission? God has given you a gift. Are you gonna prostitute it for yourself? Honestly, we got dudes who pimp out the church all the time. Bro. I'm pretty tired of it. I got respect for the 4 horsemen. Now look at y'all going out there like battle rapping and stuff. I look up to y'all. I don't say it because I'm taller than some of you guys, but I look up to y'all. For real talk. So I see you guys getting on the stage and y'all talking about woo, 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 Jesus, Jesus, throwing them punches. I'm able to show my friends, it's like, hey, look, I'm talking about people who talk about battle rap, yeah. Y'all heard of Loso, y'all heard of my homie over here, they're like, yeah. It's like, yo, that boy killing dudes. Dudes who have nothing to do with Jesus. And for that, I got respect. I got my own music, and sometimes it sounds different. It might look different. I get denied shows sometimes by churches. You look like you promote violence. I'm all right with that. I'm cool with that. At first, it hurt my feelings. Off rip. First, it hurt my feelings. I was just like, yo, this is how Christians gonna do me? It's straight. They just don't see what I see. They don't got the vision and mission.
When they hear your music, does it change their mind?
Exactly. It does.
So they hear it and all of a sudden it changes them.
We don't even invite it to any reindeer game.
So it's like
y'all missing Datin. Datin got a million jokes over here. I'm not stalling, but Eshon is downstairs. He said he's coming up here, but they got him taking a picture. I really want to get his take on some of this, but if we can get ready to wrap it up.
Somebody did say, I did want to hit one point too.
Yeah.
You said the people. It is people maybe who, you feel me, pimp the church. You feel me? And you hit on this a little bit, like going through the Christian label so you can make it. And then no, but it's guys who really have a love for the Lord. Like right now, I'm not trying to say my good deeds, but I'm at Legacy Conference, trying to, grow in my faith. My faith is all I have. You know what I mean? So it's like I said, I tweeted, me and Datin were tweeting the other day. I was like, it's guys who really care about Jesus, who really want to grow in the Lord, who really, like, my right hand is the Lord. Like when people know me, people know me in person. People see me online, they think I'm just a madman, but I'm not. But if people know the real JT, like I knew Street for years. He know the real me. Like I knew him he know me. Loso. Years, I know for years, so they know me, and they know like I really have a heart for the Lord. They heard my heart for the Lord. They see my heart. Philo, him knowing from years, he knows my heart for the Lord. Like, and it's really guys out here who are pimping the church, who want to go through, Christian hip hop and then break out from it. But it's guys who really want to see the glory of God, reach who they want to reach. You know what I mean? Who they want the glory of God to reach. That's my heart. Like I really want to see my people saved, man.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day.
So that's where it goes down to. It's the heart of it. You feel me? I'm saying it's gonna look in different expressions. You know what I'm saying? Some people are gonna be like, that's Christian off rip. Some people like, okay, yeah, it's doing a little different, but I look into this guy's life and he legit. He out here feeding the block. Yeah, he trying to see change in his community. You got all these other rappers doing it and donating money and stuff like that. The world praises them for it. How come the Christians ain't doing it? You feel me? Like I just sit and
don't pay.
Yeah, I mean, in that too. But I mean, like, you feel me? Like, so I'm originally from South Florida, right? I moved to the South. I came back to Florida. I meet up with some of these dudes who claim to be Christian rappers and stuff. I'm not throwing any names. It's like 10 to 15 of these dudes. I sit down with them. I'm like, hey man, how you doing with your walk with God? Hey, I'm doing all right. When's the last time you went to church? I went to church like 8-9 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. Oh, who you discipling? Oh, nobody. Yeah, I'm looking at him like, hey, you talking about God and stuff.
And sadly, that's a big portion.
And I just heard you just got a check. I heard you just got a check from this church too. Like, yeah, we're doing good, man. I'm like, but
God said you gotta eat.
Yeah. And I think that bothers me. Like it does.
Perfect gifts from the Lord.
Man, chime in.
So I got a concern.
Talk about it.
So there are many Christian hip hop artists, many of which, in my mind, they're not talented, but they got support. Like, if the music is whack, should we still enable and, like support the people, like support the artists, like even though we ain't feeling it?
I'm gonna say from Rick. No, I mean go ahead.
So the way I look at it, end of the day, music, as universal as music is, to make it something like we can be an end all be all for a standard, I think it's damaging. Now, so the thing is the issue really between the person who's whack, who has a minimum following, and he's not really, or it's the whack person who has a large following? Because I know people, I go to churches, I'll consider them trash. You know what I'm saying? But when I see the gleam on those kids' eyes, and then they have the remixing secular beat, I hate that. I hate it. But when I see them kids, it's like, that's the album they taking home. that's the project they jam, I'm like, that's better than whatever else they could be listening to. Yeah. So like, yes, I could say that you're less talented, you're trash, whatever. Cool, that's my opinion. But that little kid or that person who could listen to that might affect somebody's life. Like, you ever heard a sermon that you knew was correct, and like it didn't really hit you. It was like, oh, that was good. Or you can go to somebody who's not a pastor, a homeless man. He gives you a word, and it's like, man, that hit me. You know what I'm saying? So it could be the message, it could be the messenger, but how are we to judge or how are we to gauge this is right or this is wrong? If you want to proclaim it whack, but I've seen people's lives impacted through both spectrums. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's in our breath to say, yeah, God can't use that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I think God can use anyone and anybody, whack or good. You know what I'm saying? Now, whether or not they should be basing their careers off that's a different conversation. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's what you mean, though, right? Like, whether they're basing their careers.
Like, you're not gonna do a feature with no whack artist.
But that's a subjective thing, bro.
It is subjective.
It is subjective. I just personally won't support him, but I ain't gonna go out and publicly be like, yo, he trash, don't let him at your show. I would never do that. It's just like that. For those reasons, like, yo, I'm not God. God might use that man. But as for me and my house,
that was Datin. Loso, what's up? I got a thought that kind of would shift that, but go ahead, Loso.
Okay, is it pertaining to that? Because I just wanted to...
I would shift gears a little bit.
Chef said that I wanted to...
Well, let me shift gears on that a little bit. I would think because it is a subjective thing, like what's whack and how you can't really control what fans are going to do. Exactly. You know what I mean? But I would hope that you all, because you guys are the next wave, you can't police what's whack and what's not whack, but we can kind of safeguard and help each other out, like the accountability horsemen have. I love hearing y'all talk about, y'all call so-and-so up. What's reflecting the heart of God and what's not? What's reflecting the heart of God and what's not? And like helping keep each other on track with that. And being able to even speak out unitedly, like to the if there is a CHH, to have some kind of united conversation with that culture. I know it sounds corny, maybe old school, maybe even a little like just maybe it's too much. But I do think there was something that back in the day there was a stamp of approval.
No, I appreciated that stamp of approval. I appreciated the cosign you needed from the OG.
Like, how do you all in your generation? What's up, y'all? Eshon, the infantry just walked in. My man,
wouldn't even be on. I mean, but that might be the Lord who may have wanted his rap self to get on so he could witness the A-War.
Like, if you think back to what I was talking about, like, well, when I was making music, I wasn't that good.
Right.
And it had somebody came up to me and be like, yo, bro, you trash. Or, yo, this ain't your lane. It might have discouraged me from even trying to polish a gift or be a part of anything, you know?
Yeah. I'm throwing the idea out there, not because I think y'all should take it and run with it, but find out what your generation's version of this would be. Like back in the day, Cross Movement and some other guys, we did try to have something like a Knights of the Round Table. And it didn't come to pass because some internal stuff messed it up. But we wanted to create something where you ain't got to take our word for it. But if you do think we have a word that's worth listening to, we do put our stamp of approval on this one or on that one. Like, what does it look like for dudes to come together to be able to tell CHH as a community, yo, we fully support so-and-so. We fully support this move. The culture looks like it's shifting in this way. We kind of are not with that as a unit. We are not, like, what does that look like?
It's never gonna happen, bro.
Never.
This is why, bro. When y'all were doing it, y'all had a monopoly on CHH. Even though CHH wasn't a thing, but y'all had a monopoly on it. You know what I'm saying? So you were able to go and why I know about Lecrae, you guys put a picture of his head on your website. You know what I'm saying? Before I knew about Reach Records. Boom. Then when you click on Lecrae, it goes to Reach Records. You know what I'm saying? So I started hearing about all this stuff. This is the thing though. That thought and everything that we're saying, I mean, we just gotta be honest though, it's gone. Like Shep saying, yo, he's asking certain Christian hip hop artists, are you going to church? And they're saying, nah, I don't. that wouldn't fly back.
So we
That would
know
not
of, and we're
fly.
not gonna name any names. We know of some Christian rappers who are extremely talented, who you be like, Dad, what the heck happened to them? And then you hear about them not going to church, and they be like, Cross Movement blocked us. But then you hear about they wasn't in church, not discipled. They were lone wolves. They did this. They was sleeping with this girl, and then you be like, oh, because of that round table, so to speak, or that monopoly y'all had, they never really got
The last person at the round table, I'm just keep it funky. The last person at the round table that was still with some influence was Lecrae at the time. He was the last person at the round table, and this is the reason why. Maybe you guys were still there, but let's just be honest. And this is me from a consumer standpoint.
People follow success.
When the Truth and Ambassador fell,
I know what you're about to say.
when both of them fell, first
They
of all,
lost their spot.
we was out in me, KB, we was in crossover, and Pastor Tommy was the one who gave us the news, and we was weeping. We was weeping like they died. You know what I'm saying? When they fell, and we knew, like, dang, that's it. Lecrae was the last one. He was the last like figure. You know what I'm saying? Like Mount Rushmore dude at the time. So like, obviously there were other dudes who were doing it, but not on that level for us. So he was the last one at the round table. Now, when he gets up out the round table, he says, not that he wants to leave, but he's just like, hey, this isn't necessary.
No, hold on. I don't know if y'all remember. There's a history here that people need to be aware of, because what happens is if you miss the history, people get to revisit that history and tell it the way that they want. And not to put anybody on blast, Lecrae has given several different reasons as to why he made the shift that he made. But early on, one of the reasons why he said he made that shift, he publicly said this, was he saw what happened to Ambassador, and he saw what happened to Truth, and he saw that the mantle was coming to him next. And he didn't want, if he would have ever fall, he didn't want what happened to them to happen to him. So that's why he began to make the shift that he made. That's part of a history that people need to remember. Not wanting that accountability.
But like, it's hard.
I've never heard that.
I've definitely heard that. But that's hard to believe.
Well, that was one of the first reasons, and then over time, there were more.
You get a dude like moves, and there was no move.
Right. But over time, there were more. That was the original. I'm just saying, it's important to keep in mind when you have people who kind of do have the helm, if they say, that's too much responsibility.
I think it's something pertaining to that on Heartbeat too. With
Right.
on there.
When he gets up, listen, at the round table, when he gets up and say, hey, this is, because at that time now, Reach is the only thing. And I remember when these Unashamed tours was on, they bring Flame on there, you know what I'm saying? And they were kind of they were doing the same thing. I saw their stamp of approval on certain things, and that's when we went ahead and we accepted it. For instance, one particular person, they put their stamp of approval on Dwayne Triumph, right? He comes in and he's from, and all of a sudden I don't hear from him, don't see him. We link up with them and we ask what happened, and it was theological differences. They were like, hey, we didn't sign him because theological. Boom, their stamp of approval's off. I don't hear nothing about Dwayne. You know what I'm saying?
And don't make me go on there.
Now, but this is what I get. I don't want to get there, but this is what I was getting at though. So when he gets up, so obviously they had a monopoly on it now. If it wasn't Reach, you weren't moving units, you weren't doing none of that. If you weren't signed, you weren't
They
doing
got
none
a
of that.
monopoly on the winter jams, on the tours,
All that, you know what I'm saying?
And I think it's not just a
Y'all dudes created y'all own. I feel like I tell this to this day. God Over Money came in and created their own like fan base. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't pull. Like all of us, we were pulling from the Reach. Like yo, if y'all like Reach, come check us out.
Okay.
But Bizzle came in and said, you know what? I'm like. You can like God Over. This is what we all got on money, and there was a brand.
It was a brand, yeah.
And now he's putting on these artists, and he's helping these artists make a career out of it. So, but what the point I'm getting at is that we'll never be able to get there. One, there's no desire from the leaders to do that, and two, it's just so many different outlets, so many different versions of what Christian hip hop should be or what Christian hip hop is that. It's no way to reel it all in. It's just no possible way.
Well, I say so. I can only speak personally from battle rap stands.
Mitch, hold on. One of the questions that they answered, especially the younger guys, was, are you a Christian hip hop artist? And what is Christian hip hop? So can you throw that into whatever you're about to say? And if not, why not? And if so, why?
Yeah. Well, I can start it up. If you call me a Christian hip hop artist, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like at the end of the day, if someone labels you something, ride with it. You know, that's just how I feel.
What if it's a misnomer? What if the label don't fit you?
Well, if the label doesn't fit you, so I guess when you talk about Christian hip hop, not Christian hip hop, I don't think it's really like something that it's another facet outside of those things. I think we're talking about whether somebody recognizes, oh snap, you're positive. Matter of fact, I heard you mention something about a higher power. Okay, hey, is that higher power Jesus? Are you a Christian rapper? Yes, I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's easy. I'm that. You know, like, if you call me a Christian rapper, I can't escape that. It's musically, you know, battle rap wise, I'm a Christian battle rapper. There's no, I'm just a battle rapper. I'm a Christian battle rapper. Musically, like, if somebody said, oh,
that would be a great question. We don't have to spend time on it. Is there such a thing as a Christian who's a rapper that the Christian rapper label would not fit in any way, shape, or form?
So so we have those people. Yeah.
Okay.
So a Christian rapper, talking about battle rap specifically?
No, period.
Rap.
You're a Christian who raps, and the Christian rapper label wouldn't fit you in any way, shape, or form.
I mean,
well, the thing is, when you talk about you have NF, but when you watch a video, and then I see a video that's viral, I wasn't even looking for NF. And it's like, oh, let's watch this video, and then watch the music video. This is pretty fire. These are secular colleges showing these videos, and they're like, yeah, did you know this guy's a Christian rapper? They're like, wow, I didn't even know. This is fire. You know what I'm saying? So like that's how the world is viewing it, doing it at colleges. But I was gonna say, I feel like as like one of the pioneer battle rappers, I could say, when it comes to people who are coming in, it's like, hey, I'm thinking about doing battle rap. I'm like, let me hear your bars. I'm all about that because you talk about representing something that's way bigger than just you talking about you got some bars. All right, let's hear it. We gonna spar. You might have to get sat down. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm always
something that's way bigger than you're talking about as well.
Yeah, just the body. Like you're representing the body out in the world.
So you're saying,
not just you going on stage and then you crumbling. It's like you going on stage getting attacked.
A Christian who goes into the battle rap arena where their faith is on display, they're not just representing themselves, they're representing the body.
Yeah, they're representing us, you know?
Like
that's
y'all
what
came
the big
before.
thing is. You just get trashed and you don't have your stuff right, and the dude like basically challenges your faith and washes you, and you ain't got nothing to say back, you jeopardize your tech. You know, then they looking at us like,
okay.
Yeah, and
So y'all
of course, overarching,
that's a good word, y'all.
There's a round table. There's a round table for battle right now. So what happened to the gatekeepers?
So that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, let's let me finish then. Excellent, thank you.
Only because this is something small, and we can start and then kind of go from there.
Okay.
Culture
CHH.
shift.
And so what I've heard in the conversations of the young people I've been around was not the fact, but most of the times you see a lot of the pioneers weren't winging people, and it's like, okay, hey, what's up? Oh, nah, you gotta wait your time.
Yeah.
Okay, bet, when's my time? They don't find their time. Okay, wait, I'm gonna create my time. And then because I'm not getting discipled, I'm not being trained, I'm not getting theology from this person, I'm gonna do it my own way. And then so my thing is, for the older people that were not discipling, it's hard for me to hear a complaint because it's like, where was the training up? Where was the baton? Where was where was the shepherding through the culture? So it's like,
That's a good point.
Yeah,
but the answer is no. The answer is no, though, for you saying, can you be, or do we have a Christian who's just known as a rapper and not a Christian? And this is the reason why I'm going to say that is that I know we're saying NF, but my thing is like, who in here talks to NF? Talks to NF, you know what I'm saying? We don't know, I don't know, we don't know what church he goes to, right? We don't know none of that. But my thing is like, the reason we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt, obviously, because that's how I know him from Exist. You know what I'm saying? I knew when he did that Flame record. But since then, though, there hasn't been a public proclamation. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But my thing is like, if we're just saying like, yeah, like, yo, he's, and for lack of better terms, I'm going to use the terminology, like, he's one of us. We're just saying that because of 7 years ago, he did a track with Flame and he was serving Jesus. I don't know what church he goes to. I don't know. No one in here is doing, nobody in Christian hip hop is even saying like, yeah, bro, he sent out from us to go ahead and do this, you know what I'm saying, do that joint. None of us, you know what I'm saying? So my thing's like, but we don't have one.
Is it impossible?
Well, what is that? So like in your class, you had that word for like the different identities you have, like layers.
Intersectionality.
Intersectionality, right? So like, that's why I feel like sometimes this conversation is like, at the end of the day, we all know what's up. Like, bro, you're a male, right? Like, and you rap. He's a male rapper. Now, that might not be the title he wants to go by, but like, that's what you are. You're from Florida. You're a Florida rapper. Like, these are just titles that are inescapable. So there's nothing you can do. For that label to change, you would have to not be from Florida or not rap. So, like, when you have people who are Christian rappers, like, are you Christian still? Yes. Do you rap still? Yes. Bro. And, like,
and that, but that's where we go to the thing of the second question. The follow-up question was, what is Christian hip-hop? Because when we have, you know what I'm saying, the homie Chance being like, all right, you know what I'm saying, do different chapter. Now you can finally say your favorite rapper is a Christian rapper. You know what I'm saying? So like somebody who actually owns the title, it's like, hey, I'm a Christian and I rap. I'm a Christian rapper and I'm your favorite.
Can you imagine though? Like one of my favorite shows. I don't know if you guys ever watched the show called Arrested Development. Yeah, hilarious show. One of the hilarious characters is a magician. Is a horrible magician, and he got blackballed by the Magicians Alliance because he gave away the secrets, you know, of the Magicians Club or whatever. So he's trying to get the Magicians Alliance to accept him back to do shows under like, and nobody will book him because he's not an Alliance approved magician. I'm not saying that it needs to be anything that deep, but I just wonder if chances, hey, now you can finally say your favorite rapper is a Christian rapper. Like, who can the world go to say, yo, Loso, yo, Streethymns, yo, Eshon, yo. He said my favorite rapper is a Christian rapper. Was he right? And then now they're looking at you saying, do you stamp his Christian rap? Or do you have some kind of caveat as to, I see why he's saying that, but I would caution you here. Sort of like JT said a minute ago.
Some of that comes from who cares if I get your stamp or not. Like, with the Four Horsemen thing in battle rap, these are the people. So, like, if they say it, that's what goes. That's kind of like what you were saying. But, like, you have generations who don't know cross movement. You have generations who don't know Lecrae.
But they know y'all. They know these guys.
And so, like, that, like, hey, nah, or hey, yeah, it's just like, all right, bro, like, who are you? I don't know of you anyway.
I think it's multifaceted, and I say this because at the end of the day, we talk about now. Do I personally know Chance the Rapper? No. Do I personally know like what goes on in his personal life? Only when he's exposed publicly and what goes around. We know he's an activist. We know he's very much politically involved. We know he's sown into this community specifically a lot. You know, now without affirming or discrediting his faith, I will say this much. The interesting thing is, here we have what before was a young man who, before Coloring Book, was acid rap. Acid rap being a project that was all about, hey, I'm drugged up. You know what I'm saying? In a lot of ways, I'm looking for answers. And then he goes to Coloring Book. The elevation in mindset and proclamation of spirituality was a leap and bound. Especially skipping over from 10 Day to acid rap to where he is then. So, with that being said, I feel like if you talk to the average Christian in our millennial generation, is a generation where, hey, if I think it, I'm going to say it. I'm hungry. I'm going to tweet that I'm hungry. F this person. You don't know the person talking about. They're going to tweet F this person. You know what I'm saying? Like, our journals are public. You know, and previously the generation was, hey, if your uncle's a rapist, then it's a family secret. You know what I'm saying? Like, rather than something that's out, everything is public, everything's public. Like, I'm looking at the average Christian that's 40. Imagine you making an album about your life currently and being open. How exposed would it be, good and bad? You know, and I feel like that, in a way, is something that pushes people away when you hear somebody being open about their lives, and it's like, oh snap. Now, I will say, the things he says and the cosigns he uses definitely will cause somebody to be like, yeah, I don't know if I can put the stamp of approval on there when it comes to, hey, this is a church stamp approval. But like I said, that also goes down to the first question of what is Christian hip hop?
Can I chime in on that? Like, part of the idea, I think it was Jafia, somebody online, kind of threw this question out, like, what gives Christians the right to try to put their label on something that someone else created? He asked, did Christian hip hoppers, the pioneers of it, go to Africa Bambaataa or whoever and say, hey, we like this thing that you all came up with, we're going to try to put our own thing on it? Is there really such a thing as another culture, or are we just doing Christian rap within hip hop culture? Should it not even be Christian hip hop? It's just Christians rapping in hip hop culture.
I think it's the distinctiveness of, gangster rap, right? It's this subgenre aspect of.
I would hope it's more than that though, because
the lifestyle should be the bleeding.
Here's the thing: it's one thing if it is just Christian rap. It's another thing if it is a counterculture operating within a broader culture. So if you got hip hop culture spinning this way, and then within that wheel there's a smaller wheel spinning the opposite way, and calling people saying, "Yo, we're not leaving the culture just because we're Christians, but our wheel does spin the opposite way within the culture." Right. CHH, the reason why it even made sense was we didn't leave the culture. You can tell that from the aesthetics, from the fashion, and from some of the heroes and some of the art. But when it comes to the values and the ultimate questions, our will go a different way.
And we actually go back further as far as creation is concerned. Like, everything is the Lord and the fullness thereof, right? He created hip hop. It belonged to him. He's a redeemer.
So it's being redeemed.
It's being redeemed. And so you look at the process of that, and it's like, okay, they went to it first, and they're like, oh, this is hip hop. This is what we're going to do with it. And then we come across it and say, oh, well, our hearts is postured this way. This is what we're going to do with it. You know what I'm saying?
I do like what you said. It does have to be counted.
I like that.
For it to be a thing. And my thing is like, I'm going to just go back to it again. The only people that's doing that now is God over money. That's saying like, yo, we're countering the hip hop culture on a high level. I'm pretty sure we all do it, you know what I'm saying, in our own. But as far as in music, unless y'all know another label that's saying, yo, we're not trying to. Oh, I didn't know if you guys were like a record label, but yeah, if that's the case, I know Eshon, you know what I'm saying, shy by himself. I'm talking about like a record label.
But here's what I'm talking about, because you're talking about record labels that put out music. I'm talking about people that come together to create culture.
But wait, so would you not say conscious rappers are countercultural even in the culture today?
They are.
See what I'm saying? So it's a lot of clogs going the opposite direction. You know,
Not a
like
lot.
I said, conscious rappers.
But is the conscious rapper really going in the opposite direction of the gangster rapper? Or
That's a great question.
Other aspects.
Yeah, that's a great question.
In certain areas, not.
I want to hear from Eshon if y'all mind. Because can you even chime in on some of this in terms of where do you stand? No one is saying that anyone has to be a Christian hip hop artist, but since we got a new generation coming up now, what do you see when you think about CHH? Are you even a part of it? What is it? And then when you talk about the conscious rap and the culture that they're trying to create, they're trying to go kind of opposite, but they end up going the same way you're saying.
So conscious rap for me, you know, coming up, listening to Nas, listening to people like Common, listening to artists like Talib Kweli, Mos Def. I thought, to me, coming up, they were the ones who had the answers. You know what I'm saying? So they had the strategy for taking care of a family, loving women, and you know, being knowledgeable, reading books. Like it was cut from a different cloth. You know what I'm saying? So that's who I focused on. I'm like, yo, I'm looking into these dudes, not the gangster rapper that's telling me, you know, to kill somebody. But when I got a little older, and I realized that these guys were doing the same exact thing. You know, when I see Talib Kweli in the club, you know, getting arrested for fighting with his wife in the club, I'm like, is this real? When I see all of these brothers with none of them are married, none of them have any stable relationships, none of them have anything that they actually don't, multiple baby mothers. It's like the same, y'all doing the same thing the gangsters rapping. Gangster rappers, you know, but y'all just rapping it in different, but the result is the same. So I feel like with Christian hip hop and secular mainstream hip hop has no gatekeepers. You know what I mean? We would like to think they do, like your African Bambadas and your the pioneers of it, but they have no say so. You know, they're not holding anybody accountable to a certain standard for hip hop. And hip hop, if we're absolutely honest, it has never changed. When people say hip hop was different back in the day, it was never changed. I put up a picture. I was telling people the other day. I put up a picture of the Fat Boys back in the 80s or like early 90s. They got big Chanel sweaters on. Diamonds in their ears, big gold chain, gazelles, you know what I'm saying, gold frames. And when you go back to listen to a record like Rapper's Delight from Sugar Hill, it's about money, it's about women, girls, it's about cars, and it's about how they're better than anybody else. So the culture in hip hop has always been that thing. So Christian hip hop literally comes along and says, you know what, this is what drives this culture. we're counteracting, or we're going against that. So we are humble. You guys, you know what I mean, definitely are not claiming any form of humility. We are humble. We are seeking to better other people, better to listen to our peers, and not just tear them down. You know what I'm saying? That's what Christian hip hop is supposed to be.
Conscious rap.
Exactly, the true conscious rappers. You know what I'm saying? And now we have no. But when we should have,
But if you think about it too, I just want to
SeffanOtto, go ahead.
something. So like in the word, right? Let's bring it back to the word real quick. Romans 8, the carnal mind is at enmity with the things of God, right? So it can't even. It says it cannot even submit to the things of God. It can't, no matter what you can do. So even conscious rappers, right? Spitting knowledge is dope. We love Common, we love Nas, we love all these dudes. Even your remedies are carnal.
Yeah.
So like there's no hope in that.
Yeah.
And I would even say the same thing for believers. Like you can be a Christian rapper, right? But there's a certain level of carnality that you can still operate with. That's why you have to be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
That's why I said to JT earlier, if you can talk about the same problems the world talks about, but the second you begin to give solutions, and they're Christian solutions, you almost can't avoid being called a Christian rapper, because you immediately expose, you're spinning the opposite way of what the culture's doing.
And that's the beautiful thing about what we do, though, is the fact that we have the solutions. We have the answers. The world has no answers. You know, you can listen to Kendrick Lamar record. You know what I'm saying? His latest album, and or To Pimp a Butterfly. You listen to
or Coles.
You hear the issue, or Coles, and you hear the issues. I mean, and they expound upon the issues very.
They great at bringing up the problems.
I mean, it's amazing, but it's no answer. You know what I mean? So that's the blessing in what we do, is the fact that we actually have the answer. We have somewhere to point people to, you know, and that's why I feel like the culture should be maintained, but at the same time, there are no gatekeepers. When I think, if anything should have gatekeepers, it should be what we're doing to maintain. It's like if I start a Chick-fil-A franchise, there's certain standards and guidelines that I have to adhere to.
That though it's your franchise, you cannot go outside of the guidelines.
I can't go outside of these guidelines because then I no longer uphold the standard.
Let's be real. Sadly, the baton was passed to another regime, and they became gatekeepers and made sure that instead of things were running accordingly, or like keeping a standard of righteousness, they kind of just put a hold on things, and now it's just like, okay, we let you in because you're cool. Won't stop here. You could be righteous. You could be holy. You could have a message that could bless millions. But it'd be like, if I let him in, my fans may like him, and it may mess me up a little bit and take away from my pocket. So, click, click, get closed. So the people that took the table, so to speak, the round table, now it's like, we got a stronghold on this, on that, and make sure now to the outside people, you come to us first, and we'll tell you who's going to perform here and here and here and here, and it's going to stay us.
And so we know that's just like Loso was saying earlier. It's not.
It's not going to happen.
So,
I really feel like
is it too late to develop a round table?
That's what I'm saying. I feel like it's no round table right now.
Well, no. Not is it? Does it exist? You know what I'm saying? Because it appears you're saying that whoever is monopolizing is basically at the round table. So so my thing is like, question: is it too late for OGs to come together and say, okay, bet we're gonna at least now that we're in a place where something.
What OGs have any say so?
The sad thing about this, we got
where's the respect? Where's the
we got a culture
that even exists?
We got a culture that has been merged with a genre, and the sad thing is, if you're at the top of the genre, you also end up being at the top of the culture, when that really shouldn't be how it is.
That's true.
And so I think somehow we need to divide between this idea of what the genre is. I love, who was you talking about HGA? Like I said, you were part of HGA? You said no, not the rapping part. There was other dudes. Cross movement was more than just the rappers. It was a whole movement of people who was down to see the cross presented to the culture. The rappers were the face of it. I think it's dope that we got the rappers, but who are the other people, pastors, who can come along to kind of help form that round table? I said this to Datin in the car on the way from the airport. I really do. I'm not trying to divide anything. Now, I might want to turn the camera off for this one. That's my camera, so I ain't got to post it. I hate the fact when I see Reach dudes post stuff. I ain't putting out no new album no time soon, so I ain't saying this for my benefit at all. But I hate the fact when I see dudes post stuff and the CHH crowd rush to like it and all that. And then I intentionally look. I'll go back through to see who all the likes are. When y'all post stuff, nobody from Reach is coming to y'all like posting and like.
Just one, KB.
Maybe KB. KB's a dope dude.
Yeah. KB's a
But
special
I'm just saying. All I'm saying is, I hope.
KB is in the culture and he's.
Yeah, KB is the one that you see network with everybody.
I just hope though that dudes, if you ever are, if you're hoping, it's almost like if you study economics, trickle down economics. Just help the top 1% and it'll trickle down to us. It never does. You help them and they keep it. I hope that dudes would stop hoping that something's going to trickle down from Reach. And do your own. Some of y'all are doing your own thing. But I think there could be a unity between y'all cats. And if dudes from my generation can help, we gladly will. But y'all got something of a spotlight on you. You got enough of the genre to make the culture listen to you, to form something that could be cohesive, that could be a unit. Your new label's got the word movement in it. I think people use the word movement too much because it's not really, and I'm not saying this about you, what they're starting is not really a movement. We tried to start a movement. I bug out when I come here and I got dudes who are 20 come and say, yo, my uncle raised me on your music. People raised on you. That's 20 years ago. But your impact is going to be from a movement. And I think that y'all have what it takes to come together. Like I said, y'all got enough of the genre to spark a movement.
And that's, I agree with that totally. I think when everybody's main focus is being popular, is being on the charts, being signed to a major label, even if it is like a gospel version of that label or an inspirational version. If that's the aim, you're like, it's just like a mainstream culture. I mean, whatever you gotta do to get to that top spot, you're gonna do, you're gonna think like an individual to do it. But we're trained to think, we're supposed to be trained to think as a collective, to think as a body. You know what I'm saying?
To award each other. I will boast on this. It's because I feel like it's a calling from God. I intentionally be posting other people's stuff, constantly showing support for that reason, because do you know how many times there's been, I've posted Eshon stuff before, and straight, my fan are now telling me, thank you for putting me up on Eshon. He's my favorite rapper now. Like, some people be scared of that. Like, what? I'm not your favorite. Like, so we all should do that. We believe in the message. It's not clout chasing. Now, we share each other's stuff to clout chase. Like, maybe if I post that stuff, then he'll share mine. Or maybe he'll do a song with me when I ask him because I showed him love. Like, no. Post it if you believe in it because he's preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
but I think, so to your point, answer your point. So I think what needs to happen is the guys who are doing this, it's like, the reason why I started infantry was because I noticed I had a little bit of a platform. So now I can post something and people will see it, people will be, introduced to something that they may have never seen before. And they're artists, for instance, my brother Thre, no pun intended. But for instance, like, so you see his heart, you see his skill level, and see his ability as an artist, and it's like, yo, I want to highlight that. So how can we pour into brothers who are doing it, who just need to be acknowledged a little bit more, or
sharing your platform.
Sharing the platform. So, like, I think it'd be dope to start something where, the artists who are in a position to do it create something that has an impact on the culture, and then invite other people to be a part of it. Because, I mean, just saying this person is dope, just saying this person is cool, maybe posting a song, like, that's one thing, but like we're in a position we can actually create something that's tangible. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate what y'all brothers is doing in terms of the battle scene. Like, y'all, like, man, it's just like, y'all, like, permeating the walls. Like I just straight, you know what I mean? And so, I believe probably soon you guys will be able to do something yourselves on a greater, kind of like a, you know, I'm not saying bite what they're doing, but I'm just saying like something with a large impact. Where you're just not co-signing somebody, but you're actually providing a platform for somebody.
Yo, you know what I love y'all for, man? Thank God that y'all connected, bro.
Yeah.
Because if y'all would have been beefing with each other and separated, I'd have thought y'all whack for that.
Real.
And the fact that y'all created the horseman thing, when I saw that, I swore my heart. I was like, yo, praise God, yo.
It was
That's the heart of culture.
Y'all was able to do that?
As far as this Christian battle rap thing, ain't none of y'all, nobody messing with y'all for it. Y'all got it on smash. Facts. So I think y'all got it on smash, period, Christian or not. And then y'all connect. I said, that's God.
It's over.
That's God. That's the heart. That's the heart of God. That's the heart of God. Trying to live back. I want to respect y'all if y'all was beefing with each other. It'll be reveal all pride.